All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to I'll name this segment later. GTG spits that grease, so on and so forth. Title forever in the works. So, another day, another lolcow to be slayed, if you will. And we're gonna be talking about Darkside Phil and his him being this incredible innovator on YouTube, and how he came up with the let's see here. He came up with the concept of he didn't come up with the concept. He said this before, but he's backtracked it since. He's the one who made Let's Plays popular, and then everybody else wanted to do them because of him. For one, no, not at all. First off, DSP did not invent Let's Plays or playthroughs and whatnot. Two, he didn't make it popular. Truth be told, there are people who were doing it that made it popular before DSP, but even because DSP was actually inspired to do that content because of other Let's Players and whatnot. But secondly, he didn't what really kind of elevated, I would say, or one of the factors that elevated Let's Plays were basically some of the vloggers who ended up coming in with larger demographics, who they played games and just didn't post it on YouTube because they couldn't profit from it, and they were the ones who really blew it up. Just because a lot of people have watched DSP, from PewDiePie to what's that one guy's name, John something, he was like a British he was like a British reviewer and shit, kind of like James Sterling, or Stephanie Sterling is what they go by now. Actually, give me a second, let me see if I can look this guy's name up right here. Total Biscuit. I don't even need to. I got it. Total Biscuit. I'm right there. Like Total Biscuit. All these people have watched Darkside Phil because he flooded the goddamn market, and they thought he was an idiot when they were watching him back in those early days before even the hate came through. And once the hate really came through, they all commented again and said, yeah, it turned out the way it did. He didn't innovate shit. If anything, that's not true. That's actually not true. DSP has kind of innovated. He has innovated, or let's reword this. He's made hating on a particular lolcow not acceptable. And I wouldn't even say he's made it popular. He's made it tolerable, if you will, because it is still a niche thing. And I know people like to go back and forth with me on that, like the homie Dwight, for example. Big up to Dwight Rays. It is just a niche thing, but you'd be surprised how many people really get into DSP stuff because of the people that quote unquote hate on him. It's a Gundam's a fantastic example. Most of you probably got into this because of Gundam. Most of you probably got into this because of Medicare. Some of you may have found out about DSP through Ethan Ralph, or just a sector in general, because a lot of them guys have heard of who a DSP is. As well as in every gaming circle or genre, someone's heard of Darkside Phil. And if you want to say that he popularized Let's Plays or playthroughs, which isn't true, that's not actually what he did. What he did do is give people a blueprint on what not to do, how not to act as a streamer, how not to act as a YouTuber. If you could say anything about innovation, he's kind of the one that did that. But I'll even go further than that. He's also laid down the groundwork. He may very well be not only the patriarch, but also the matriarch of your e-thought, of e-whoring online. He theoretically had an only snort before OnlyFans was a thing, if you think about it. If you really, really think about it, taking desperate people, mainly men, and convincing them to give him money and whatnot, with getting little to nothing in return. You got to give him credit on that. He theoretically, I'll go even further. It's because of early Twitch using DSP as a guinea pig is what laid down the protections for the e-thoughts that exist now. But not only that, but also the IRL streamers that are always doing dumbass shit online and getting themselves fucked up, and then they're supposedly banned off Twitch for, they're permanently banned or banned indefinitely, and then they come back after like 3 days or a week. He theoretically helped pioneer that too. If you want to think about it, he helped lay down the groundwork on that. Like, I'll think about that, and I'll reach out to Proper, and I'll see if I can better put that into the situation. But if the things that DSP says that he helped lay down the groundwork for, he didn't. But he laid down the groundwork for the type of behavior, stupid, ignorant, bad behavior, whatever otherwise. He helped lay that down. And actually, I want you to really peep game on this. He actually may have very well popularized e-begging, not just on YouTube, not just on Twitch, but on fucking TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Because DSP has begged, maybe not on TikTok. I don't think he even has a TikTok account. Instagram kind of begged for likes. He's definitely begged on Twitter for people to come to his stream to help contribute and get his streaming numbers up or whatever. But he's begged on YouTube and Twitch for years. And now you're starting to see in 2026, you're seeing more content creators do it. They're doing it in more clever and creative ways. It's still begging. It's still begging no matter how you shape it. I mean, Jesus Christ, LolCal Live, which is falling apart after however many years they've been around, 3, I guess, or whatever. That shit's about to fuck all the way off. But that whole premise is based on begging. It's not even about entertainment value. They're just cannibalizing themselves. It'd be fucking crazy if someone actually had told you this a couple years ago that that's how that was going to turn out. I did, but that doesn't matter. There's a lot of people who eventually saw the light on that, and it happened the way it happened. It's really kind of fantastic. DSP is a plague. He's a scourge. He's cancer. Everything he touches turns to shit, one way or another. That's really what all this represents. But anyway, let's get to the actual video at hand. Thanks for coming to my extended TED Talk on that. Oh man, I can't wait to get back to the Snort report where it's all long form. Go ahead and get the put the title belt back on my waist. All right, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and see if this is actually the right one. That would be helpful, I think. All right. Shut up. Okay, so first off, let's go ahead and give our flowers where flowers are due. First off and foremost, big ups to Raw Phil and whatnot. Very much appreciate it. Big ups to Diggs for cutting this. Big ups to Chio18. Big ups to all my peoples. Big ups to everybody who watches this. I appreciate it. I really do. I really appreciate it. And let's give you guys a title. Let's go ahead and get to it. DSP speaks on, Darkside Phil speaks on being an innovator on YouTube, but never being recognized for it. He made Let's Plays popular on YouTube, or Let's Plays became popular because of him on YouTube, and then everybody else wanted to do them. None of that's true, by the way, but it is what it is. Anyway, this is from June 17th of 2026. Strap in. Don't worry, it's going to be short. Don't worry, it's going to be short. Oh, but check this silly shit out. All right, here we go.
Someone tipped $2 said, I hear you preface a lot of things with, I've been on YouTube for 18 years to prove a point. Do you think you're an innovator because of that? An innovator because I've been around for 18 years?
You can see how it tastes like salt coming out of his mouth and whatnot. But that's how DSP portrays himself, though. Oh, I've been around for 18 years, so I obviously know everything about everything. I understand how YouTube works, even more than the people who do the programming and everything behind the scenes. That's how he says it. But now that it's being thrown up back at him, he can't take it. He can't tolerate it. You know what I'm saying? His palate can't deal with it and shit, and his snout's starting to drip a little bit. But that's what he's told people for years. I've been around for 15 years. I've been around for 10 years. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not stupid. I don't know. You seem pretty stupid to me. That's just me, though.
I was an innovator because I was the person who made impromptu commentary Let's Plays popular on YouTube. Period.
Even though he didn't, and people were doing it before him, and people did it after him even better. Obviously, your PewDiePies, your Markipliers, your Jacksepticeye's, and he hasn't been nearly as successful as any of them guys. You know what I'm saying? That's the crazy part. And all three of those guys have been successful outside of YouTube, and he can't match anything that they've done either. It makes you really think.
There were people who were doing Let's Plays and playthroughs before me. They did not become notably popular until I did them. Everyone on YouTube was a guru. What I mean by that is they were a specialist.
I don't know if that's actually how. That's not how that works. Actually, let me actually give you guys why he uses the word guru the way he does. Back on early YouTube, they had the tag system, right? DSP used to tag himself into everything. You know what I'm saying? Because gaming really wasn't a thing just yet. So he tagged himself on everything else. lifestyle, this right here, comedy, this right here, a guru was actually one of the things he could tag himself on. He basically just did a catch-all situation and hoped he could bring as many people to him as possible. He cheated the system, basically. He legitimately cheated the system. He lied and whatnot and put out a false provocation and to give YouTube the idea that, okay, this guy, he kind of covers all bases. Let's put him out there, or let's push him as high as as hard as they did. Ironically enough, as the system progressively grew and changed, he started to get decategorized. He started to basically get deprioritized. And that was by design, because the way you start is very important on how you finish. Now, don't get me wrong, you can have a bad start, you know what I'm saying, fix stuff in the middle and still have a great finish. But for DSP, he never really changed anything. So he kept up on that lie. He was willing to live by and die by and stand on that lie. And it ended up affecting him every time YouTube made changes, adjustments, and updates. And if you listen to some of his early YouTube rants, this is like right around the time the hate mob was really on his neck. And he was complaining about how his views were low and he didn't understand why. Why aren't people watching his videos? Why aren't people subbing to him? Why aren't people sharing? Why aren't people leaving comments anymore? All of the sins that he did early on, policing his comment section, saying, I'm gonna block you 10 ways to Sunday and I don't give a fuck about you. And all the other insults that he threw at people, it all compounded on him and whatnot. And sooner than later, like your taxes, Phil, you're gonna have to pay them taxes with interest.
They only played Call of Duty. They only played Minecraft. They only did this one style of game. I was the guy who was a jack of all trades, master of none.
So you were fundamentally bad across the board, which, great screenshot, by the way. So basically you were bad across multiple games. Okay, fair enough, which is ironic because he actually sold himself on being a former pro fighting game player. Yet you have actual current players. I'll use Chris G as my example, who literally says by just him playing DSP during the early beta for Street Fighter 6, it was like he was playing somebody who's either never played Street Fighter before or hasn't played Street Fighter in like 14, 15 years. What does that tell you? I want you to think on that. What does that actually tell you under those circumstances? But everybody was a guru, and yet all of those people who were in their particular niche or point of interest was successful. The people in the Call of Duty community on YouTube are made a lot of multi-millionaires. I mean, a lot of them spent it on prostitutes and former porn stars and coke, but you know, it is what it is. But like a lot of people made a lot of money off of Call of Duty, and then they spent it in dumbass ways. You don't believe me? Ask Wings of Redemption. If you don't believe me, go and look up a guy named X-Jaws and ask how and find out how he spent his fortune, so on and so forth. Even T Martin, to be honest with you. Ali A did all right. He got himself hair plugs, so that worked. Anyway, and actually, I heard an interesting. Okay, this rumor has been on Ali A for a bit, and I still haven't seen enough evidence yet. But there was always this rumor on Ali A that he was actually involved with, or he was sleeping with, or he had some type of relationship with someone at Activision, and that's how he was getting all of his information super early. This is before T Martin came into the picture. And then even after T Martin showed up, Ali A was still the go-to, and then everybody went to T Martin after that. That was kind of the routine and how you got your Call of Duty information back then. And there might actually be some evidence to prove that that was true, that Ali A may have actually had some type of relationship with someone at Activision. That's how all that happened. But that's semantics, but that's so many fucking years ago. But the fact that that actually might turn out to be true is crazy. Either which way, all these people in all these different genres made themselves crazy money and made themselves crazy successful. You know what I'm saying? Minecraft, Fortnite, like pick your poison, bro. Pick your poison. And DSP wanted to do this whole catch-all bullshit, thinking that he could eat off everybody else's plate, eat from everybody else's table instead of making a lane for himself, despite what he tells you. It explains why he failed at he fails, not that he failed, that he has failed at everything. That explains a lot when you think about it from that standpoint.
Played an insane variety of games, did impromptu commentary over all of them,
and was bad at all of it, and then even admitted that his impromptu comedy wasn't really impromptu. He was stealing that shit from Angry Video Game Nerd, from Nostalgia Critic, and from Howard Stern. So he literally stole their shit. Then on top of that, he admits, only in recent times, that he really was just he threw out whatever nonsense he was throwing out, meaning commentary, just so he could fill time, just so he could fill airspace. because he really didn't have anything to say. So he had to force it. So you didn't innovate jack shit. You sucked every bit of dick that you could, and then you went ahead and tried to spit that out, trying to make it seem like it was yours. You were just a mouth. Kind of like your sister-in-law, Phil. You were just a mouth. Big ups to Officer Sanders. Not.
And everyone liked everything I did. I made playthroughs popular on YouTube, and then everyone did them. Period. There's no actual anything else to say about it.
It's literally not true. He saturated the market. Here's what this nitwit did. This nitwit saturated the market with the shit until he ended up getting himself fired from his actual job. Because he did have a job, right? A nepotism job, though. A job that daddy got him until he got himself fired from that shit. And then he just swamped the system to where you had no choice but to see him first. But then, when quantity couldn't beat quality, he died. And then the hate troop, or the hate brigade, or whatever you want to call it, on top of that. But that's what happened. Before a detractor, troll, hater, or critic, you know what I'm saying, stuck a fork in his pork butt, his whole idea, his whole business plan, in air quotes, of quantity over quality got beasted. It failed. It failed. And so when the quality came in and it kept growing and it kept innovating and he couldn't keep up, he was the Mr. Oh, I'm gonna be the last guy to do, you know, raw gameplay, unedited, whatever, because there's still a market for that. That's what you guys want. That's why you guys are still here. Because if not, you would ask me to change. Not completely avoiding or ignoring the fact that under multiple of his old videos, you need to start editing shit, man. We don't need all this dead air and all this dead space. Hey man, your jokes are garbage. And a lot of it's just either racist or sexist. No one thinks that shit's funny. You're an asshole. And so on and so on and so on. He was fucking up from the beginning. He was fucking up from the beginning. He did the guerrilla style stuff. He did the unintelligible fucking comedy, if you even want to call it comedy. He did that shit for too long. And he got faded out. He got faded out. And rightfully so.
Okay? Seriously, there's just nothing. You can't contest it. The history is there. You can go back and find out for yourself. It's all there. I never deleted any videos. It's all still there. You could.
That's literally a lie. Remember, Machinima and YouTube allegedly told you to delete all your videos and shit because of the false copyright claims? Did you forget that, retard? Maybe you did.
See, I was the one getting popularity doing it, and then everyone else bit off of me and said, we want to do it too, and did it in their own special way.
Then they didn't bite off of you. Because biting off of you is what you did with Nostalgia Critic, Angry Video Game Nerd, and Howard Stern, where you literally stole their shit and passed it off as your own. They didn't do that. You're admitting right here that they saw what you did and did it in their own way. You didn't have a patent on Let's Plays or on playthroughs because it existed before you. People did it with commentary before you. Let's get into why DSP even started doing all this. You want to know why? DSP said that he was playing a game, he couldn't figure it out, and there was two different thoughts as it pertains to guides online. Either someone who walked him through it but didn't really have the visuals, or someone who had the visuals but didn't have the audio to walk him through it. And that's what inspired him to do this shit. Which is actually, ironically enough, that's actually very similar to why Wings of Redemption likes to say how he started doing content on YouTube. According to Wings, he says that the reason why he actually started doing Call of Duty content was because he wanted to make videos to help his teammates get better. Now, that's actually not the truth, surprisingly. The real reason why Wings started doing Call of Duty content is because he already saw other people doing it. It was starting to get popular. He knew eventually money was going to be involved, so he wanted to get in on it so he didn't have to work in IRL anymore. Imagine that. Just, who would have thought? You know? And Review Tech USA kind of falls into that category too. So when you hear mongoloids run around here and say that, oh, I went ahead and did content for YouTube before, you know, I could ever get paid for it. I did for the love of it. I did this, that, and the third. Usually those are the same people who bitch and complain about views and how they're not making as much money as they used to. So where was the love at? Was it for the love of money? Or was it really for the love of the game? I don't know. Might pay off to be honest with yourself.
It off of me and said, we want to do it too, and did it in their own special way. And that's fine. That's how it works. Everyone sees an idea and then they run with it and do their own thing. And some people become way bigger than you. That's what happens. Okay.
Oh, let's also talk about all those years that DSP spent hating on those people who came up from behind him, bit off of his style in air quotes, and how he tried to slander them and say, they're not real gamers. They don't give a fuck about you. They only give a fuck about the money. He literally did this for years. All those videos that he said you can go back and look for, you can find it. Actually go to some of his channel update videos, right? The really old shit. And you can hear him talking about nonsense like that. Actually, I'll give you an even better example. Go back and watch his beef with Toby Turner and listen to that nonsense there, because he was throwing shots not just at Toby Turner, but at anybody who was a vlogger who eventually came into gaming and whatnot. He went ahead and shot his shot at all of them cats. For real, for real. He did all of that, and he did that for years, which only alienated him from not only those people and from their audiences, but it alienated him from gaming in general. He, even in his late 20s, because most of those people were in their early 20s, he was in his late 20s, damn near kissing 30, damn near French kissing 30, and hating on a bunch of people merely because they were more successful than him. They didn't say anything about him. They didn't do anything. They just succeeded. And he was super fucking mad about that. And he tries to say now it don't hurt him and he don't care and this, that, and the third, but that's bullshit. Because if that was the case, he wouldn't be suing detractors, and then you wouldn't have detractors trying to talk to dents, seeing if he really was going to try to sue. Just saying.
So there you go.
Sometime today, Phil. Sometime today. Got
Okay.
things to do.
That's it. We're all caught up. All right. I do want to talk about Mina the Hollower. Okay, this is the other game that we've been playing this week.
No fucks about any of that, so we can go ahead and cut that off right there. We can cut that off right there. Big ups to Raw, Phil. Big ups to Diggs. Big ups to Chill. All right, so closing thoughts, and I'll go ahead and let y'all go. So, the DSP, is DSP really the innovator of YouTube Let's Plays or playthroughs? No. So there's a reason why people don't recognize him. Now, with that being said, let me be very clear about this. There are plenty of successful YouTubers over many subjects or many genres on YouTube who have admitted to watching DSP. That doesn't mean they were fans of him. That doesn't make you a fan of anybody, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Fans are committed, like really, really committed. These guys aren't. It was an incredibly small pool of people who were doing it. And DSP was literally, like I said, was basically casting the widest net that he could in a catch-all type situation. So it's not surprising that anybody in gaming in particular, or in commentary or whatever, has seen Darkside Phil in some type of way, shape, or form. But not all of them were fans of his. Not all of them were inspired by him. And if anything, he was just a cautionary tale of what not to be. What happens when you're a loser in IRL, and then you go ahead and try to stick your nose into every little crevice on YouTube, thinking you're somebody, and then it comes back to haunt you. That's all it was there. So, and as it pertains to, and then he made it popular and it made everybody else want to do them. Most of the people who ended up following, in air quotes, DSP on their YouTube journeys were already doing YouTube, to be honest. So it wasn't like PewDiePie saw a DSP video and was like, I want to do YouTube now. Now he was already doing YouTube. So, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And it's what makes it even more ironic, since he wants to talk about how much of an innovator he is. Ask him why he's failing now. Why is it that he's not looked at fondly as most of the other people are? Ask him that and see what he has to say. The first thing that'll come out of his mouth is troll and detractor. But all of those people have their own detractors and trolls. So why aren't they down bad like him? Why isn't PewDiePie begging and shit? Why isn't his baby moms and whatnot, his wife, he actually married her, why isn't his wife out there shaking that ass on fucking OnlyFans and shit? Why isn't Markiplier out here whoring himself and shit? You know what I mean? Like, ask him these questions. You know what I mean? Why isn't Ninja's fucking baby's mom ain't out here doing some, his wife, actually married her too. Why isn't Ninja's wife out here doing silly shit? Why is everybody else why did everybody else either succeed, make their money, and then leave to go off to do other shit? Or were able to keep their longevity and parlay it into something else while still doing YouTube, and all DSP does is beg all day? Why is that? How is that? Ask him to explain that to you. He'll throw a word salad at you all day, for sure. He'll definitely put you into the Gouty vortex. But he really won't say anything. Because he knows what the truth is, and the truth hurts. He was a nobody then, and he's a nobody now. Ask your favorite detractor how they got started in some of this shit. Like the ones who actually got started watching DSP, because it's broken up into many categories. For example, I found him through the FGC. I didn't find him into all this YouTube shit till way later, to be honest. But ask how some of these guys who actually found DSP through his content on YouTube, ask how they started. Ask how much he's grown, in air quotes, from back then to now. He's only gotten worse, but he was always meant to. YouTube was the worst thing that ever happened to Dark Side Phil. The internet at large, really. But I'll say YouTube for sure was the worst thing that ever happened to him. When DSP got rejected from the FGC, he came to YouTube because he wanted to retaliate. He wanted to prove that you guys should have been paying attention to me. You should have appreciated me. Now I'm going to go ahead and go hell bent on this shit. That's all it was. The only reason why he exists on YouTube is because of the FGC. Because he had sat there and gotten humiliated multiple times over multiple years. And YouTube was an outlet that he felt the fighting game community couldn't control him on. Now, that's my own personal Theo theory. It's not exactly a Theo theory. If it was, it'd be good. But big ups to Theo. But that's my personal theory on that. And I'm pretty sure that if I'm not completely right, I'm at least partially right. That's all this is. He didn't give a fuck about sharing his passion and all that bullshit. He wanted to build a fan base as quickly as he could, and then turn around and look at the FGC and be nah. And then when they didn't care, then he just stewed on it. But he was still making a lot of money, way more than than he's ever made previously. So fuck it, and he just stayed with it because he can't function in real life. The FGC days prove that. Hell, his early just internet days. And message boards and shit like that prove that. He don't know how to function amongst real people. It is what it is. And that's his curse, and he deserves that shit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. This has been on the end of the segment later. GTG spits that grease, so on and so forth. Take care of yourselves, people. Take care of yourselves, people. And remember, oh man, a dent will always be a dent. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter how they say they've seen the light and they see DSP for what he really is, they're always going to be dents. DSP knows it. You know it. I know it. End of story. And they know it. They're always going to go crawling back to him in one way, shape, or form. Just some hold out for longer than others. Anyway, take care, people. Later.